I had an amazing date with an old classmate while my husband was out of town. I've never really done this before. You know, spilling my guts to the void, venting to faceless names on the internet, that's not usually my thing. But it's late or early, depending on how you look at it, and I feel as though I'm losing my mind. My life is spinning off its axis, and I just need someone to tell me whether I'm crazy or not. I'm married to a man named John, a tall, strong man with eyes that used to sparkle with love when he looked at me. He's a cop and a veteran, and one who's always stood for justice and protection, a man who could handle any crisis with a level head. A good man. No, a great man. We've built a stable life together. He's supportive, responsible, always there when I need him. We've been together for over a decade now, with 2 beautiful children, a home we built together, a life I thought I wanted. Then Aiden came back into my life. Aiden, the name that had never quite left the back of my mind. He was my childhood sweetheart, my best friend, my greatest regret. He was the one that got away, the one I'd always wondered what if about. He was always the adventurous one, the free spirit, the dreamer. A talented artist with eyes that sparkled with mischief and charm that could make anyone swoon. To me, he was the epitome of everything exciting and romantic. I learned Aiden was passing through town right when John was scheduled to be out of town for a training seminar. I knew I shouldn't, but the temptation was too much. I invited Aiden to go out for dinner. We had a wonderful time, talking, reminiscing, laughing. The hours slipped by unnoticed, and before I knew it, it was 2 a.m. Aiden said he needed to get back to his hotel, to get some sleep before driving to San Antonio the next day. Then, out of absolute desperation to get my pent-up feelings of 20-plus years out, I did something I'd never done before. I confessed my feelings to him. I confessed that I loved him, that I'd always loved him, that even though my life with John was good and stable, I'd always longed for him. To my utter surprise, Aiden confessed he felt the same way and had felt that way since childhood as well. So there we sat, lovesick and in a real spot. But looking into each other's eyes, it only got worse and our inhibitions just kept crumbling. We could both see it. We could both feel it. We both knew we were past the point of no return, and the attempts at resistance only made the inevitable all the more. He really tried to be respectful of my situation, my marriage, my family, but the tension was too much. One look, one touch, and we were in each other's arms. That night, we shared an intimacy I hadn't experienced in a long time, a passion that was all-consuming, fiery, and liberating. I'd never done something like that. Cheated. Betrayed the trust of the man who'd loved and cherished me for years. Yet, I was exhilarated by Aiden. Everything about him was intoxicating. His touch, his voice, his laugh. But once the thrill had passed, guilt began to seep in. I have no idea what to do now. John is still away. He doesn't know what happened. A part of me is terrified of what will happen if he ever found out. Another part of me longs to run away with Aiden, to leave my steady life behind for the promise of love and passion. I feel guilty. Guilty for betraying John, for wanting to leave my life behind, for considering completely changing the course of my life and my children's lives. But I also feel alive, more alive than I've felt in years. It's like a part of me has been awakened that I'd forgotten about, a part that yearns for excitement, for love, for passion. I know it sounds crazy. It feels crazy. I'm a married woman, a mother, a wife. I've always lived by the rules, always done what was expected of me. I've never been one to rock the boat or to follow my heart when it conflicts with my head. But with Aiden, all the rules, all the expectations, they just they just don't seem to matter. I can't get Aiden out of my head. His touch, his laughter, the warmth of his body next to mine. I can't forget the way he looked at me like I was the only woman in the world. I can't forget how he made me feel. But at the same time, the thought of my husband, my children, the life we've built together, it weighs heavily on my conscience. I've spent hours, days, even weeks thinking about this, turning it over and over in my mind, weighing my options, evaluating the consequences. I've considered every possible outcome, every potential scenario. But no matter how much I think about it, I can't seem to find a solution. On one hand, there's John, the man who's loved me unconditionally, who's supported me through thick and thin. The man I've built a life with, raised children with. The man I promised to love and honor till death do us part. And then there's Aiden, the man who sets my heart aflame, who stirs a passion in me that I didn't know I was capable of. The man I've loved since childhood, the man I've always regretted letting go. He makes me want to be the best me that I can be, and I just feel happy and completely natural around him. I know what society expects of me. I know what my family and friends would say. I know what my head is telling me. But I also know what my heart wants, what my soul yearns for. And for the first time in my life, I'm torn between the two. It's ironic, really. All my life, I've strived for stability, for security. And now, I find myself craving the unknown, the unpredictable. I find myself wanting to throw caution to the wind, to take a leap of faith, to follow my heart. And I don't know if that makes me brave or foolish, selfless or selfish. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll choose my husband or my old flame. I don't know if I'll choose stability or passion, responsibility or love. All I know is that I'm standing at a crossroads, and whichever path I choose, there's no going back. I know it's a long story, probably more than you wanted to hear, but I needed to tell it, to lay it all out, to see it in black and white. Maybe, just maybe, it will help me make a decision. Or maybe it will just give me a moment's peace, a brief respite from the chaos in my mind. I'm not sure what I'm hoping to get out of this, confessing my story to the internet. Maybe validation, maybe advice, maybe just an outlet for my thoughts. But if you've read this far, thank you. Thank you for listening, for being there, for not judging. Maybe you don't have the answers, but just knowing that someone out there is listening, it helps. It helps more than you know. Mercy, that sounds like a tough spot to be in. Do you identify with any elements of her story? Do you have someone like that in your life? Someone who would make you consider taking a risk and starting all over again? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more Tangled threads.